Guitar Theory Lectures. How to Visualize Theory on the Instrument. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today's lesson is titled Master Sharps and Flats Visually, and we're diving into a powerful approach to understanding key signatures, not through charts or memorization drills, but directly through the guitar itself. The goal here is to help you internalize how many sharps or flats are in each major scale by visualizing that information on the fretboard. Instead of relying on mechanical repetition or graphic aids, we're going to anchor theoretical knowledge into the geometry of the guitar neck. Let's start with a clear example. E major has 4 sharps. That's a fact we want to remember, but instead of writing it down repeatedly, we connect that fact to the physical location of the E note on the fretboard. By doing this, we start to build a mental map where each note, E, A, D, G, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and B, is tied to a specific position and key signature. This strategy helps us remember not only how many sharps or flats are in a scale, but also which specific notes are altered. What are alternated notes in the scales? The E major scale has 7 notes: E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and D sharp. The key signature for E major includes 4 sharps: F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. These sharps are alternate notes that are included in the scale to create the characteristic major sound. Throughout this lesson, I'll walk you through how to identify the sharps notes in the key of E major directly on the fretboard. By the end, you'll start seeing the neck of your guitar as a complete theoretical roadmap, turning abstract theory into something visual, tactile, and practical. Let me show you how to find the sharps notes in the key of E major on the fretboard. E, B, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, G sharp, G sharp, G sharp, D sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, D sharp. Okay, you might have questions about this particular procedure. Don't worry about memorizing the entire order at once. You can practice some visualization both on the 12-tone sequence and on the fretboard. The 12-tone sequence automatically will stick in your mind as quickly you begin to practice. Remember here, this is just instructional theory I am presenting to you, and as I asked you to be patient till we surpass a couple lessons, because things will start building up as we move up. The steps for practices will come soon. Now, I must jump 2 lessons up and get back again to complete this step after. The reason is because we need to do some study on the function harmony, tones, Roman numerals, and the relative minor, so we can begin to practice the lessons more musically, at least to not sound like playing scales up and down and chords on the scale sequence. How to know the relative minor tones in the sequence of 12 tones, and how to memorize them. From the key of E, let's move downward on the 12-tone sequence 2 steps, and on the guitar fretboard, 1.5 steps. And the same is applied to all 12 tones. See demonstration on the fretboard. And that's how you remember the relative minor on the guitar fretboard. Functional harmony, Step 1. Functional harmony is a system of rules that helps you create chord progressions that sound, well, right. At first, it might sound a bit complex, but it's actually pretty straightforward. So let's dive in. Here's a diagram for the scale. You'll see Roman numerals that represent their scale degrees. Uppercase numerals stand for major chords, lowercase for minor. And if you see a lowercase numeral with a little zero symbol, that's a diminished chord. Now, seeing all the chords is great. However, we are not going to study the diatonic tones of the scales yet. But let's say they're there, and the big question is, what order should we play them in so that they sound musical? To answer that, we need to understand three basic functions of chords: tonic, dominant, and subdominant. Tonic chords are our home base. In the key, the tonic, that's the 1 and the 3 chords. These are stable, restful chords, where the music naturally resolves. Dominant chords, which include the 5 and 7 diminish, create tension. They want to pull back to tonic. Subdominant chords, that's the 2, 4, and 6, are somewhere in between. They're a great way to build motion before returning to the tonic. Here's the general flow. Tonic chords can go anywhere. Subdominant chords usually lead to dominant chords. Dominant chords resolve back to tonic. This is a quicker explanation. Now let's practice it over the lesson we left behind. How to master sharp notes on scales using the guitar. Welcome to a deeper step in your journey into music theory. If you've followed along this far, congratulations. You're not just learning music, you're beginning to understand it from the inside out. Many students start with the circle of fifths, and while it's a valuable tool, it can also obscure the way music actually unfolds on the guitar. That's because the guitar itself is tuned mostly in fourths, not fifths. So let's use the instrument as our guide. The sequence of fourths, using the 6th string, low E. Let's look at the sequence of perfect fourths starting from the open 6th string, E, on your guitar. Moving up the neck by perfect fourths, you'll pass through all 12 tones, just like the chromatic scale, but in a more musically functional order. E, A, D, G, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and B. Notice, some of these notes have enharmonic equivalents. For example, two notes that have the same pitch and sound, but with different names. B and C flat, D flat and C sharp, G flat, F sharp. Depending on context, like key signatures, they might be written differently. Theoretical insight: why this order matters. You might have learned the order of sharps using the circle of fifths: F, C, G, D, A, E, B. But if you look at the order of tones that naturally carry sharps in major scales, B, E, A, D, G, C, you'll notice they follow a perfect fourth relationship. This pattern isn't typically highlighted in traditional theory graphics like the circle of fifths, but it is embedded in the guitar's tuning and layout. In fact, if you play E open string, A 5th fret, D 10th fret, G 15th fret, C 20th fret, you're literally walking through the order of sharps via fourths, visually and physically. This perspective is more intuitive for guitarists because you're not just memorizing theory. You're seeing it and hearing it in real time. The full 12-tone cycle in fourths. Here is the complete cycle of all 12 tones arranged in fourths. This is the foundation for exercises that develop your understanding of key signatures, chord progressions, tonal relationships, functional harmony. It also reinforces the logic behind which notes carry sharps or flats, depending on their position in the cycle. Why start with the sixth string? The sixth string, low E, is your anchor. Every fourth from there gives you visual reference, tonal recognition, positional awareness on the fretboard. It's a practical entry point into mastering scale construction, key relationships, and harmonic movement, all through the natural order of fourths. Brain final thought before practice. So remember, if you're ever confused by the circle of fifths, try flipping the script. Think in fourths, starting from E. You'll begin to see patterns unfold directly on your guitar, not just in theory. Now, let's put this into practice with some chord progressions and fretboard exercises using this order. Practice assignment, preparation for the next lesson. Dear students, in preparation for our upcoming lesson, I recommend the following important exercise to deepen your understanding of the 12-tone system on the guitar. Practice task. Spend time on your instrument visualizing the full sequence of the 12 tones. Focus on identifying the number of sharps on each string, starting from the following root notes: E, A, D, G, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and B. Work on recognizing both sharp and flat sequences along the fretboard. For example, when you play the note B flat, say aloud, B flat, A sharp, then play it again and continue through the sequence. This vocalization helps reinforce the equivalence of enharmonic notes and strengthens your internal map of the fretboard. Purpose. This exercise is essential for developing fluency with the 12-tone sequence, which functions much like a metric ruler for musical structure. Mastering this sequence, both forwards and backwards, will enable you to build chord progressions with ease, freeing you from the need for charts or lengthy mental calculations while playing. Why this matters? The steps outlined here are foundational. Trust me, if you follow through with this practice, you will gain a powerful advantage in your playing as we move forward into more advanced topics. You won't regret putting in the time now. Keep practicing with intention and consistency. Thank you for being here till the end of this video, and I will see you soon. I can accomplish the following lesson. In order for me to do all this work, I ask you for your support. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share with your friends, even if they're not into playing guitar. Thank you very much. See you soon. Best regards.
Robertinho Soteras.